Do, 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 do. Camera check. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. What's up, everyone? Charles Austin here, the chronic disease killer. And it is another wonderful, thriving Thursday here where we're giving you helpful tips to help your health thrive. We talk about everything here. Today, we're talking about how to get protein from plants. But if you know me, as I've called myself the chronic disease killer, if you know me, you know that my biggest focus here is to eliminate, reverse, prevent, cure, get rid of, kill, however you want to say that, chronic disease, right? So, again, another wonderful, thriving Thursday. We're going to talk about plant protein here in just a little bit. But per usual, as usual, before we get started with the wonderful content that we have today, make sure you like this video because the video is awesome. So make sure you hit that like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting on? Make sure you subscribe to the channel, smash that subscribe button, and get up-to-date notifications every single time I'm here live when I post a new video, anything that has to do with this human body health topic, right? So we're going to dive right in here, and I already have it up here. We're going to come back to that here in a second. But what I wanted to start, real quick, y'all, real quick. So adjust this microphone just a little bit. Or sorry, adjust this camera just a little bit. There we go. And I'm going to raise my chair just a little bit. But one of the things, and I got to push it back down a little bit. There we go. So what we do here every Thursday is basically I pick a topic or somebody will suggest a topic to review. And this entire page is really about killing and reversing chronic disease. Okay. If you don't know what that is, hey, look it up. We're not going to talk about it tonight, but basically, chronic disease is a disease, an illness, something wrong with the body that lasts for a long time and it messes up your normal function, right? Examples will be things like cancer, diabetes, heart disease, obesity, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what we're going to talk about here on the channel. So a topic came up just the other day. A friend of the family was wondering about how do I change my current diet? Like, how do I start moving away from animal proteins and and meat and things of that nature? And if you know me, I like to call a spade a spade. So if we refer to meat, we're going to call it dead flesh because that's what it is. And one of the questions that they had was about, how do we get protein? So that's what we're going to talk about here today. So let's get rolling. I don't like to waste time. People got things to do. So what I did real quick is I did a little research as I love to do. And what I did is I went ahead and looked up a couple of sites that came up with some of the most common questions about being vegan, right? I don't really like that term, but it is something that people can relate to. So they know if you say vegan, that means that for the most part, most people know that if you say you're vegan, that means that you don't, eat animal products, right? Primarily. I don't really get into all the, whether you wear it or shoes and stuff, which I don't agree with anyway. No, you should not be getting snake skin shoes and all that. I don't agree with that. But my biggest thing is putting it in your body, right? We're talking about food, diet, that kind of stuff, nutrition. So when we're talking about this, I like to call it a proper human diet. If you've seen any videos on my channel, you know that I go into great detail to explain why we're supposed to eat plants. But when we say the word vegan, hey, we're talking about eating a bunch of plants. So 10 common questions about veganism, right? And we're going to scroll to the one we're going to see a lot. There you go. Depending on where you go, this is a very extremely common question, and especially for me in this industry as a coach, as a nutritionist. When you speak with clients, when you speak with potential clients, or when you're just having a general conversation, and that's a very common question. And specifically, to take it a step further, since I like to lift weights like everybody should, part of your regular exercise routine, it's a very common question about, well, how do you get enough protein to build muscle and stuff like that, right? So very common question. We can see here it came up on the second one on this site. Let's see. Here's another one here. Just random. I didn't just random sites. Let's see. What is this one? Where did it come up? There it is again. Where do you get your protein? Very common. Here's another site. Top 10 questions about being vegan. I like that picture. I like the color scheme. It's kind of a dope picture. But anyway, where's the questions? There it is. Do vegans get enough protein? And one more time. How do vegans get protein, or where did it? It's very common. It's very, 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 very common. All right. So, real quick, I wanted to just give you a quick little overview on what protein even does. And this is something that a lot of people may not know. Okay, many of you may not know that, the functions of protein. You hear it a lot. You hear about protein a lot. It's like, oh, get your protein, 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 protein. You hear it a lot. But what is it, right? And look, this is what normally will happen. Okay, this is what normally will happen. When you start reading about protein, this is the wrong site. I'm supposed to be going to a different one because I wanted to break down what protein is. No, where's my page where I said we broke down what protein is? Well, I can't find it. It's gone. Something happened. Oh no. Anywho. Well, you know what we can do? We can remedy this real quick, y'all. All right, so let's remedy this real quick. So, why is my camera? It's like so... Yeah, I messed it up a little bit too much. Okay. Hopefully it's not crooked or anything. I'll worry about it later. But I'm going to remedy this real quick. Protein function. I'm just doing a quick search in the body. Right? Okay, we'll just leave it here on the AI. Makes things easier, like it really does. So, as we see here, not interested, leave me alone. So the main function of protein is to build and repair body tissues. So for example, if you cut your arm or your hand or something, in order for that scab to form and in order for that that scar, to heal and everything, that injury to heal, protein is required, right? That's an example of repairing body tissues. When we say building body tissues, a good example of that would be muscular growth, right? So that's what we're talking about. Providing fuel is not one of the primary functions of protein. So if I were writing this little caption, and I don't want to get into too much detail, but you know what? I might have a little treat for you, depending on how much time we have. I might have a little treat for you about this topic right here about providing fuel. But supporting the immune function, basically helping your white blood cells, form and do their thing, regulating vital processes, providing structure and movement, etc. Right? So the biggest function of protein is the cellular repair, like the repairing and building of tissues. And then when you are someone who is going through puberty, like if you're a teenager going through puberty or something like that, protein can be a little bit more important just because they're growing, right? So that's the main thing. Okay, that's the main functions of protein. We don't need to get into it too much, but just so you have an idea. So back on track here. Here's the one thing that I want everybody to know. Okay, you watch this video, we don't need to have this conversation anymore, right? So as you can see, I did a little search up here, and no, I did not ask if all plants have protein. I just said plants have protein. You can see the search bar right there, right? Get out of here. So as it says here, nutritional research indicates that all plants, let that sink in for a moment. All plants, let that sink in for just a moment, because for everybody out here asking that question, and we already went to all the different sites where that's like one of the most, if not the most, and in my experience, it's the most common question. Like that's the first thing people ask. Oh man, you don't eat flesh. You don't eat dead flesh. You don't eat chicken. You don't eat eggs. Like, where do you get your protein? Eventually, it always comes out. So as you can see here, all plants have protein, and it says at least 14% of their total calories in the form of protein. Now, that doesn't mean that every plant source is the best source. All right, different plants provide different functions, but it doesn't matter what kind of plants you eat. It's going to have some type of protein. So, what are the best sources, right? Or no, not quite yet. Now, here's what I wanted to do here. We'll save that one for a second. What protein is better for muscle gain, right? And let me scroll down here just a little bit. We're comparing protein. Let's see. Where did it go? Where did it go? Yeah. Okay. So, like, this is a question that's also common associated with athletes, weightlifters, bodybuilders, whatever, or somebody who's just the regular person who is training, building muscle, etc., trying to keep healthy. And it's a common question also about, well, hey, where do you get your protein? And when you get done asking that question, the next question is, well, how do you build muscle eating a bunch of plants, right? Or more importantly, how do you build muscle if you're just eating salad? Because it's a common thing that most people think that if you only eat plants, all you eat is salad. And a true confession for me would be that I don't really eat salad. Like, it's not one of my more favorite meal choices. So this is a common question. And as you see here, protein is often associated with exercise, athleticism, et cetera, et cetera. And as it says, not without reason, because it is. As we already said, the main function is to build and repair tissues, and muscle is a type of tissue. So protein is important for building tissue. So I'm not going to get into myofibrils and all that good stuff. So if your goal is to increase muscle mass, will one type of protein be more beneficial, right? Now look at what they say, right? And who is this person? I want to know who this is. Talking real quick. Somebody named Cohen. What do they do? Just give me a second. Registered dietitian. No, that's this person. I don't know who this is. Can I figure out who this is real quick? Oh well. And I don't spend too much time on that. Maybe I can just click it real quick. I just want to see. I like to know what kind of profession the person is in when they are speaking about certain topics. That's all. So let's just see what comes up when I pull this up here real quick. Not to slander anybody. Oh, no. Some type of medical person, health person. Anywho, won't pull it up. But as it said, the person said that animal protein is likely better at building muscle given its complete amino acid profile, right? And better digestibility. Animal protein is higher in amino acid leucine, yada, 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 right? So then they go on to say, and this is a very common conversational topic, for like the carnivore diet community and all the what's the other community, the keto diet community and stuff. They like, oh, you're not going to get complete protein, right? We'll get into that in just a second. And then they go on to say plant protein is generally wrapped in fiber package, which means you don't absorb much since your body doesn't break down fiber really easily. And in actuality, your body's not trying to break down fiber, right, at all, really. It's not about it doesn't break it down easily. That's not fiber's role in the body. It's not designed to be broken down. The point of fiber is to go into your body and flush your system. That's the point of fiber. So, anywho, as it goes on to say, that doesn't mean that consuming plant proteins won't allow for muscle gain. Now, look at the study, okay? And then we'll go to the next one here in just a second. But there's a study comparing muscle growth in young adults consuming either the vegan or the omnivorous, which most people call themselves omnivore, right? So you're eating animals and plants. So when they compared only plants to the meat and plants, animals and plants, both studies found that the vegan diet led to the same amount of muscle gain. So it's little things like this. This is one study. I get that. Okay, we get that. But there's others, trust me. And once you read my book, you'll see what I'm talking about. There's plenty of studies, plenty of evidence to back up things such as this about plants are just fine. Plants are just fine. So here, and we scroll up a little bit. We're comparing the differences between plant and animal protein, right? Now, while no single source of plants have all your amino acids, which you need all 20 amino acids, all right? They don't have it at once. So for example, what they're saying is if you get a bean or a walnut or something like that, well, that one walnut may not have all 20 amino acids compared to if you were to eat like a piece of steak, well, that piece of steak is going to have all 20 amino acids. So that is true. So, but here's the thing. All 20 can be found in plants. So what do you normally have to do? You have to consume more than one type of plant, and that's good for the body anyway. See, this is what people don't understand. Protein, the need for those 20 amino acids with protein requires you to eat a lot of plants. Okay? So not only are you getting your 20 amino acids that you require from the plants, but now you're getting the benefits such as the antioxidants, and you're getting the fiber, and you're getting the vitamin C, and you're getting all these other things, the iron, the selenium, all these different things that you're getting from eating all these different types of plants, omega fats, etc. So you have to eat. It's not difficult. Nobody eats one type of plant anyway. Nobody eats one type of food anyway. Phone keep vibrating. What is this? Oh, okay. Nobody eats one type of plant anyway. So that's literally all you have to do to get all the amino acids you have. So as it says here, we're going to move on here and wrap up here in just a little bit. Typically, plant foods are less protein dense. That just means they have a lower protein profile. Okay? Meaning that individuals need to eat larger quantity of plant-based foods. But guess what? If you are only eating plants anyway, you're going to eat only plants. So you're not really worried about the quantity. For breakfast, you're eating plants. All right, let me give you an example. An example of like my day. Example of like my day would be starting off with let's say it's a day. Okay, so an example of my day, I'm just trying to think about the fact of you don't have to worry about thinking so hard about larger quantities, like it says here, plant-based foods, right? So I would say maybe I start the day and I'll get oatmeal. It's one of my go-tos, right? Easy one. So you can go with oatmeal, half a cup of oatmeal. You can get some chia seeds, and you can get some. I like to put almonds and walnuts in my oatmeal along with some apples. So what I want to do here before we leave, I'm gonna run a protein. I'm gonna run a protein check on that meal. I'm gonna use one of my sites I like to go to check that out. So that's one of my go-tos. Another go-to could be a fruit veggie smoothie, right? So every smoothie I ever make always have leafy greens in it, primarily spinach, sometimes kale, maybe arugula. Not the greatest tasting, but I'll throw that in there sometimes. But the point is, they're always going to have spinach. Sometimes I'll throw carrots, beets. It just depends on what I have in the house and what I'm going for. But always fruits and veggies, right? So let's say you put spinach in there, and you can pick a half a cup of pineapple. You can pick a half a cup of mango. You can throw some hemp seeds in there. I like to do 2 tablespoons of hemp seeds. Mix it in with a little water, ice, and cranberry juice. Bam. There's another easy go-to breakfast. Let's do one more. Another go-to breakfast could be something like avocado toast, right? 2 slices of organic whole grain wheat toast with some avocado spread, and you can sprinkle chia seeds on top and eat that with a side of almonds, right? Those are easy breakfast ideas. They don't take a lot of time, and they're going to have a complete nutrition profile. For lunch, you can eat pastas with, you can make walnut sauce, right? Sauce out of walnuts. You can eat rice and beans. You can eat bean tacos. You can eat queso nachos made out of cashew queso. There's so many ideas for lunch and dinner, but that's not what we're here today to talk about. But I just wanted to give you an idea of how easy it is just to make different things and have a complete profile. But I do want to run that oatmeal before we roll. If we go here to Harvard Health, though, real quick. And there was something. I don't know if it was here. Maybe not. Okay, maybe not. All right, let's keep rolling. But higher ratio of plant protein to animal protein may help improve heart health. And these are the things that folks are not thinking about when it comes to all the attention on saying you have to eat animals, you have to eat animals, you have to eat animals, you have to eat animals. As you know, heart disease is the #1 killer of all humans on planet Earth. So even if you switch to whatever the reason is that you switch to eating plants, it's always going to improve your heart health, right? Even if you're saying, oh, well, this is why. It could be a number of reasons. But here's the crazy thing. Look at the the title, improving heart health, but they got these images, all this stuff that destroys your heart, right? Right in here. The chicken and this is probably cow. This looks like a salmon, dairy, chicken eggs, right? Looks like you might have some tuna or something over here. I don't know what that is. But the point is, this stuff all kills your heart. Okay? So, as it says here, eating a diet with a higher ratio of plant-based protein, that means you're eating more plant protein compared to animal protein. And obviously, if you only eat plants, you're not eating any. It's going to reduce your risk for cardiovascular disease and coronary heart disease. And again, if you want to check the source, there's the source. Okay? This is not me. I don't conduct any of this research, right? You're not supposed to reinvent the wheel. It's already been done. Okay, so again, if we scroll down here, the average person here in America eats a 1 to 3 plant to 8 animal protein ratio. That means if we're talking about grams, right? Let's just say 1 gram. 1 gram of plants for every 3 grams from animals, right? So they're just basically saying they're eating more animal protein. Our findings suggest a ratio of 1 to 2 is much more effective at preventing CVD. Okay? And look, for CHD prevention, a ratio of 1 to 1.3 or higher should come from plants. So the point is, every single time, it doesn't matter how you do the study, when you add more animal protein into your diet, it makes it worse for your health. Okay? Every single time. Every single time. All right? So the point is, hey, you can here's the point so far, real quick. All plants, as it says here, all plants contain protein. All plants contain protein. Now, we know that, and we do know that also. We also know that if you're trying to build muscle, right? If you're trying to build muscle, we know that either way, both studies will show, but either way, where did it go? Oh, there we go. There it is. Led to equal muscle gain. So it doesn't matter, right? And I saw something that might be interesting here real quick. I wonder what this article says about weight loss. Let's see. If your gain is not to gain muscle, but instead lose weight, you might take a different approach to your protein. Relying on plant-based protein sources makes it harder for vegetarians to lose weight. Really? This is because you need to eat more and more carb-heavy plants to get the same amount of protein as from meat, and those carbs contain calories. Wow, there's so many things wrong with this. See, this is the problem. This is the problem with misinformation. Okay? Misinformation. And I'm gonna destroy this right now, live, right in front of you, okay? And I didn't prepare for this, but when I see misinformation, I have to call it out, right? So it says people switching their diet often surprised when they start to gain weight, and they're blaming it on carbs. Wow. Okay. Watch this, y'all. Let me do my little search, and then we're gonna wrap this thing up. Okay. Let's do this real quick. All right, so we're gonna do this real time. Make sure I got my right. Okay. So I'm typing in, let's see, how about we type it like this? Are vegans are vegans I'm trying to figure out how to type it, y'all, real quick. Let's see. Who's more overweight, vegans or non-vegans? Yeah, let's type that in. Who is more overweight I already know what it's going to say. Okay. And I'm going to pull it up quick because it just pulled up. Now everybody can see what I typed into the screen, right? Everybody can see what I just typed into the screen. Who's more overweight, vegans or non-vegans, right? Let's hit it again so we can see the same thing, right? So it says generally vegans are less likely to be overweight or obese than non-vegans. Research indicates that individuals following a vegan diet tend to have a lower BMI, that stands for body mass index, and body weight compared to those who consume animal products. So this is what you have to make sure you're aware of is when you are seeing certain, you have to learn how to take certain things. Some things are 100% correct because they make sense. They're backed in science. But when I read this right here, I knew it wasn't backed in science. I knew it wasn't. There's no evidence that exists on this planet. And if you do have it, please bring it to me because I would like to learn. I love to learn. But there's no evidence that we can find that's going to say that if you eat more plants, you're going to weigh more. So when I read this and it said relying on plant-based, and they're trying to kill carbs. Carbs is like the most important nutrients you need in your body. Okay? But they're trying to destroy carbs, and they're going to say protein sources make it harder for vegetarians to lose weight. Like, stop it. People switching to this diet often surprised when they start to gain weight. Now, let's see. Oh, but some plant-based proteins will help you achieve your weight loss goals better than others. So, a lot of misinformation. But again, I like to keep it simple on this channel here. Right? I like to keep it simple. There it is. And what is the reason why? What is the reason why? This is likely due to the high fiber and low calorie content of plant-based foods, which contribute to satiety, which makes you feel full. That's talking about making you feel full, and weight management. So the more plants you eat, the less weight you'll have. So you're going to lose weight. You'll maintain your weight. Okay. And you will also. Oh, this was the site. This was the one. This was the same one. This is the crazy thing. Here's another example of this, and then we're going to wrap this up, y'all. I try to stay 30 minutes or less. I'm about at 27 right now. But it says benefits of plant protein. And this is what is WebMD, right? Benefits of plant protein. One of the things it says is it protects against heart disease. Okay, that's one of the benefits. It protects you against heart disease. But then if we scroll down here, benefits of animal protein. Lower risk for heart disease. What? That doesn't even make sense. So you're telling me that animal protein lowers your risk for heart disease, but plant protein protects you against heart? I don't understand. But then it says risks of animal protein, shorter lifespan. Wait a minute. Eating increases your death by 13% or 20%? And if we go here, what we can do, shorter lifespan, if you don't know, if this is your first time watching any video about me, so that's shorter lifespan. Watch this, man. Hey, Google. Uh-oh, what happened? Hey, Google. What is the number one cause of death?
Hello? How can I help you today?
Oh, my goodness. What is the number one cause of death of people?
Globally, the number one cause of death is ischemic heart disease,
What?
also known as coronary artery disease.
What?
It is responsible for a significant percentage of the world's total deaths.
All right. Wait a minute. So we know that heart disease is the number one killer, and we know that meat is associated with a shorter lifespan. What do y'all think they're talking about? What do y'all think they're talking about? All right, so the point is here again, eat plants, you'll lose weight. You'll build the same amount of muscle as somebody who eats animal protein. You'll protect your heart, and you'll just feel better, okay? So what are the best sources? Real quick, let's wrap this up. Some of the best sources of protein and stuff from plants. Items like, let's see, Yeah, tofu, tempeh, edamame. Most of that's made from soybeans. Again, we want to make sure we're getting the organic types. We want to make sure we're getting the super processed versions of soy protein and stuff like that. Don't buy it in a tin or anything like that. Lentils are great. Doesn't matter what kind of lentil it is, red, green, whatever. One of the easiest meals you can make when you're on, even if you're on a budget. Why did I just get hot all of a sudden? But if you're on a budget, lentil rice, super easy. It's complete protein. Okay, complete protein. Lentil rice, chickpeas, aka garbanzo beans, right? So this is like your hummus. So if you get a hummus wrap or you like to dip chips in hummus and stuff, another way to get protein. Peanuts, peanut butter, almonds, almond butter, easy way. Peanut butter sandwiches, peanut butter shakes. Every single day I do a workout. My post workout meal is peanuts, chia seeds, banana, almonds, water, cinnamon, all of that together. Okay, all of that together. So almonds is on the list. Spirulina, which is a type of algae. Quinoa, which is really cool to make quinoa. You can eat quinoa in a bowl, like if you cook it hot. Like I like to do quinoa, black beans, corn, avocado, stuff like that. Onions, bell peppers. You put all that into a bowl. It's cheap. It's easy to make. Drizzle a little sauce on top. Make it yourself or get some vegan sauce. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Quinoa is a good source of protein. Chia seeds, hemp seeds. I've already mentioned beans and rice. Potatoes. Who knew? We're not talking about French fries. Eat you a baked potato. Roast potatoes. We're not talking about russet either. The best sources are going to be your red skin, your yellow potatoes, things like that. Better quality potatoes, but potatoes in general. And protein-rich vegetables. So many of the dark leafy greens are going to have plenty of sources of protein. Your spinach, your kales, your arugulas. Thinking about stuff like broccoli and kale as well. Broccolini, stuff like that. Seitan, in certain breads. So the point is, there's plenty of sources of protein. It's easy to get them, right? It's easy to get them. Super easy to get them. As you see here is a picture of some of those same thing. Mung beans are actually good. Nut butters, again, oatmeal, we talked about that one. Hemp seeds, sunflower seeds, etc. So, hey, real quick, I did tell you I wanted to run a protein search on, if my account is still logged in, I'll do it, but I don't feel like doing a reset password, y'all, because it's my lunchtime, dinner time, whatever. Oh, yes, it's still here. All right, so real quick, I want to show y'all one of my, oh, it's not on here. Dang. Hold on, let me see. I'm trying to see my meals. Anywho, it's not working, and I'm taking too long. So if you ever want to use a good app, to figure out how to do your, figure out what's in your, how much protein you're eating, how much calories, carbs, fiber, etc. I like to use Fat Secret. It's one of my favorite ones to use. I like to use that one. So, all right, we're gonna wrap up. This is normally we do Q&A, but if we don't have Q&A, I get out of here. But every time we do one of these Thriving Thursdays, I don't know why all of a sudden, y'all, I just got like super hot. I don't know. Sometimes like my smart thermostat, it goes on eco mode, and it'll like change my settings. I'm like, man, it's hot in here. But anywho, normally when we get done with these streams, we do Q&A. So if you ever have questions about your specific situation or something you want to ask, you've been concerned about, hop on, drop a comment into the chat. Or if you watch this video later, put a comment here on the video and I'll respond as soon as possible. But as always, if you like the channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like this video, share this video out. We'll be here every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Time, give or take. I do have a family, you know, life happens. Who knows? Might be a little late, might be a little early. But plan is to be here every Thursday, 7 p.m. Central Time. That's 8 o'clock over on the East. All right, so check me out. We'll be back next week. And if you have ideas that you would like to discuss here in this chat, I'm sorry, if you have ideas you'd like to hear on this channel, DM me. Let me know what's going on, and I'll see if I can make a video about it. Until next time, Charles Austin, the chronic disease killer, signing off. I'll catch y'all next time.